Let us start with prayers to Shri Radha Govinda and seeking mercy of our Guru Parampara. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurue Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayyam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Cha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrind ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so let us start with a quick recap of what we discussed yesterday. So who is to go ahead?
Shall I go through, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, actually, we have 5 parts in this section, chapter 14. So first one is like, liberation and condition of the living entity. And second one is like 3 modes of material nature and recognizing the soul within the person, and action and death. Last one is transcendent and modes. We have covered first 3 parts, Prabhuji. Liberation and condition of living entity means we are into the bondage of material nature, so we need to get freedom out of it. So next one is like, describing the building of pure soul. Means pure soul, how it will be. If it is in our body, it will be like, bondage with the material nature. So uh, uh, how to go to Godhead, all those things we have learned, Prabhuji. And the intentions, difference between intentions and actions, all those things we have discussed, Prabhuji.
Nice, Prabhu. Thank you very much. So anybody wish to add? Any new participation? Hare Krishna. So Anirudh Prabhu has nicely summarized what we discussed. So we will continue with our discussion from yesterday. So while I was thinking, how do I need to start this session? So a thought which came to my mind is one of the key takeaways from the chapter 13 was body, soul, and super soul. And our realization that we are the soul, not the body. And we need to rise above this. And we also learned that soul is aloof from all the bodily comforts or distress. And one of the secrets we discussed is how do we face distress in our life, sufferings in our life. So with the knowledge that we are not this body, we are soul, and the body is going through that suffering. So with that, any situation we are facing, we need to feel even a headache. my head is aching. So we have to distance ourselves from this body. And what should be the consciousness? That whatever difficult situation I am going through is my purification. I actually deserve worse than this. It is purely Krishna's mercy. I am only going through this. So with this, we get lot of strength to overcome all the sufferings in our life. So that is one of the key takeaway from chapter 13. So similarly, what should be the takeaway for chapter 14? Yeah, when I was just meditating after our class yesterday, we discussed at length the mode of ignorance. We are all struggling to follow four regulative principles. We are struggling to wake up early in the morning. Many are sleeping 7, 8, 9 hours, 10 hours. Yeah. How do we break free from this? So this is the takeaway which I wanted to give you in the beginning of the class, and then we can continue our discussion, and then at the end of the class, let us try to connect with what we learned today with the takeaway from this chapter, right? We are treating our body as our masters. We are always working very hard to satisfy the sense enjoying propensity of our body. How do we need to treat our body? We need to treat our body as our maid servants. How do we treat our servants? Do we appreciate if our servant at home comes and sit in sofa and enjoy, watch TV, spend time? No, right? We tend to give some or the other activities continuously till the time they are there. We try to get the maximum out of it. So similarly, we have to get the maximum productivity out of this body. We all have some or the other vehicles at home, right? Some may be having cars, some may be having two-wheelers. 8 hours of sleep is we are utilizing 1/3 of our given time in sleeping with zero productivity. That is 4 months in a year we are sleeping. So let us say we have a vehicle and 4 months of the year this car or a bike is in a garage. If it is in a garage for 4 months, do you appreciate? Yeah, we need to meditate on this. This should be our takeaway, that we have to treat this body as maid servant. Our acharyas have told, as soon as you wake up in the morning, first thing you have to do is take slipper and hit your mind as hard as possible. We discussed what time I wake up yesterday. I have 2 alarms. 3:50 is my first alarm. The second alarm is at 4. So 3:50, I get up, I sit. Next 10 minutes is a battle between my body, mind, and myself. So there are thousands of excuses. Mind says another 10 minutes, nothing is going to happen. That 10 minutes will take half an hour. That half an hour will go to 1 hour. In that 10 minutes, only there are 1,000 excuses not to wake up out of the bed, but only one reason. The reason is to prove my sincerity, to please Krishna by my actions. And that 4 o'clock alarm, the second alarm, when it tries, I most of the day tend to get out of the bed. This is what little effort I try to do. Just telling, because if it inspires, it helps somebody, that is the only intention. Otherwise, nothing great about it. There are millions of devotees doing it. So the takeaway is, we should not treat our body as the masters. We have to treat our body as the maid servant and engage in various austerities, including waking up, taking fastings on special days, Ekadashi days. All these things are some of the austerities to rise above our bodily needs. So this should be our takeaway from the day. We will now move further. with section D, sloka 14 to 18. What happens at the death to one predominated by the specific modes? So at the death, what is happening for a person who is conditioned in some particular modes? And the results of action by one predominated by the specific modes. What are the action results? We will try to understand. So let us start our first sloka for the day. Somebody can take up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I'll read it.
Yes.
Yada sattve pravritte tu pralayam yati dehabrit tadottama vidam lokan amalan pratipadyate. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So, one who die in the mode of goodness will attain higher planetary system up to Brahmaloka. And the word Amalan is important here. It is free from mode of passion and ignorance. So if you are steadily staying in mode of goodness, it will overcome passion as well as ignorance. And as we know, this material world is full of impurities, in that the topmost is the mode of goodness. So those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where the great sages are all living. But we need to understand clearly that, as said in Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartino arjuna mam upatyentu kaunteya punar janmana vidyate. So from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places are places of misery, where one goes through the cycle of birth and death. But Krishna says in this loka, one who attain my adho, it is such a person will never take birth again. So basic is to at least rise to mode of goodness, and then we have to break free from mode of goodness as well, which will be discussed today through various slokas. So next sloka, please. Request you to quickly take it up. We have to cover this before 10.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Yeah, please take it up faster.
Rajasi prayalam gatva karam sangaya jayate tata pliram tamasi mudda yosana jayate. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth of animal kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So some have the impression that when the soul reaches the human form after all the transmigration, it will not go down from there. But we understand from this sloka that is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance after the death, he is going to be degraded to the mode of animal planet, animal kingdom. They will fall down to the greatest danger. But one who is engaging in little devotional service is saved from this great danger. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2.4, Neha Vikraman asosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So little devotional service you engage, you are getting yourself free from this greatest danger. So what is that greatest danger we are talking about here? Hare Krishna. What is the greatest danger we are all facing?
Repeated death and birth. Birth and death.
Repeated birth and death and falling
in the animal
from
kingdom.
our present platform. By purely God's grace and whatever little pious activity we have done, we have taken birth in Bharata Bhumi. This is the most auspicious and the best thing which can happen for us, in our spiritual progress. One of the Matajis today here in this group, she's attending from Romania. I understand she once traveled almost 400 kilometers to collect a Bhagavad Gita. So we are so fortunate. We have Bhagavad Gita in our home, but we never take that extra effort to open and read it. I'm not talking about all the devotees here. You are all fantastic devotees. I'm just telling the general tendency when we look around, when we try to give Bhagavad Gita to somebody, most of them say, I have it at my home. But what are they doing with that Bhagavad Gita? They have kept it just as a showpiece. Isn't it so? We all have to continue to progress. So therefore, those who are actually serious about the human life should take to mode of goodness, and in good association transcend. Good association is very important. The association of devotees, taking shelter of Guru Parampara, it is very important for us to progress further. And this should be the aim of our human life. Otherwise, there is absolutely no guarantee. Though you may get a human life, as said here, what you get a human life in a place like in Afghanistan or some other locations like today, either Russia, where there is so much of war. Nobody even think about Krishna, isn't it? So such a life is of no use. So this life, whatever we got, we are so fortunate. We are talking about Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. We have to take it very seriously, and we have to only progress from here. The next sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Karmana sukruta syahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajastu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamasaha phalam. By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. Works done in the mode of passion result in distress, and actions performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, one who is conditioned to different modes, what will be his conditioned state is what is being mentioned. The result of pious activity in mode of goodness, one get the knowledge as well as the happiness, and the activities in mode of passion, whatever material opulence you have, everybody are going through some or the other miseries in life, isn't it? At the end of the day, whatever position you have, yeah, greatest of leaders who had so much of material opulence, after the authority is gone, they are become a very common person and nobody even looks up to them. And in mode of ignorance, they perform without knowledge, and therefore all his activities leads to misery, and as a result he will further fall down to the animal life. Killing of animal for our sense enjoyment, killing of eating meat for our satisfying our tongue is one of the grossest ignorance, is what is said. I am sure most of you have stopped meat eating following 4 regulative principles. If not, at least you should gradually reduce and stop it as soon as possible. In Bhagavad Gita 14.4, Krishna says, Aham Bija Parampita. I am the seed-giving father of all the living entities. Just can you foresee a situation where your kid is being slapped by your neighbor? How do you react? What will be your immediate reaction? If you can't take a simple slap on your kid in front of you, if you kill an animal for your sense enjoyment, Krishna is the Supreme Father. what is going to happen with you? This is a deep realization which forced me to stop eating non-veg. Most of my friends, family, still they can't believe I stopped eating non-vegetarian. I used to have at least every alternate day, at least 15 times a month, I used to have it. From there, I've completely stopped for last 2.5 years. And that also will help you to rise from mode of ignorance to passion to mode of goodness. So following 4 regulative principle is very, very important in our progress. And as said, human being has no need to eat meat. But if he is doing so, it is in pure mode of ignorance, and it is definitely going to put him in the most darkest region, in the most hellish planets. And among these, the cow slaughter, which is happening everywhere, is the most grossest of the thing. Vishnu Purana 1.19.65, which clearly says, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So special mention is given in that prayer that Krishna is the protector of cow and Brahmanas. And the Brahmanas are the representation of the spiritual knowledge. The Brahmanas are supposed to spread the spiritual knowledge. But in modern society, both the spiritual knowledge as well as the killing of animals, especially cow, is become very, very prominent. That is how the age of Kali is progressing. Grossly misled by the modes of passion as well as ignorance. So next sloka.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Sattvat sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobha eva cha pramadamo tamaso bhavato jnanam eva cha. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, grief develops. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develop. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So, through Krishna consciousness, through sadhana bhakti, the mode of goodness develops. And in mode of goodness, people see as it is, whereas in mode of ignorance, people can't see things as it is. For example, mode of ignorance, they do not see that by killing one animal, they are taking the chance of being killed by the same animal in the next life. This statement is very important. We are just thinking about the sense enjoyment, the momentary sense enjoyment, but we are taking a big risk of falling down to the animal kingdom and face the nature's law. If we have killed somebody, we are giving an opportunity for that animal to kill us. And in mode of goodness, with knowledge and happiness, the entire society lives in peace, whereas in passion and ignorance, people are in distress. That is what is happening through all the wars happening, Russia, Ukraine. Nobody is happy, isn't it? It is purely mode of ignorance. One of my friend, when I was telling all these things, he was telling, my life is so beautiful. Yeah, I am well educated. I have a good job. I have a very beautiful wife. I'm enjoying my life. And I don't mind taking birth again. This is the level of ignorance, without knowing that this world is not the place to be. Our real purpose is to go back to Krishna and engage in his service eternally. This knowledge is missing in modern day society today. And the only help is one has to follow all 4 regulative principles, chant holy names, purify, engage in devotional service, associate with devotees, move on. Easy thing is ABCD of Bhakti. Association, reading Prabhupada books, chanting, and honoring Prasad, diet or deity worship. Next sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha madhye tishanti rajasaha jnana guna vrittistha adho gacchati tamasaha. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planet. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planet, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish world. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So here, very clearly giving the results of action in different modes. So one who leaves his body in mode of goodness, go to the higher planet up to Brahmaloka. In mode of passion, he continues and remains provided he has done some pious activities. And then result of developing ignorance is very, very risky. At least many people are in ignorance, they are doing it. We all were living in a very sinful life, isn't it? But at least now, having all this knowledge, we should either stop it immediately or at least put effort, prove by your action, gradually stop it. Sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tam sarva papebhyo moksha swami mashuchaha. From the time you got this knowledge, you have to try to rise above all these abominable activities and surrender to Krishna. And Krishna says, I will deliver you from all the sins you have done so far. Right? But coming into Krishna consciousness, do not continue these sinful activities. It is very, very dangerous. And the word tamasa is very significant here. The tamasa indicates that who stay continuously in the mode of ignorance without rising to a higher mode, their future is very dark. So as I've said yesterday, anybody sleeping till 8 a.m., it's okay, no problem. But from now onwards, your endeavor is to continuously progress, continuously reduce your sleeping time, sleep early, eat less in the evening, continues to rise and reach to the Brahma Muhurta stage. That is the best time for all our spiritual progress. Yeah. For example, an example which comes to me is you are riding a cycle. Today it is all gear cycle. Previously it was manual cycle. The uphill, you have to ride through the mountain. That is the time after Brahma Muhurta. There is so much of conditioning, so much of disturbances. We are not able to focus on our chanting. At the same time, Brahma Muhurta is like downhill. Very easily your chanting will go through. Previously, for me, when I'm chanting in Brahma Muhurta in association of devotees, it is like having AK-47 gun in my hand. I just shoot without non-stop to all the forces of Maya. At the same time, I have experienced before, when I'm not able to do chanting, maybe you can also relate. When you are chanting later in the day, it is like 1947 gun made in 1947. You have to put, tap. What is happening? By that time, Maya is having all the modern weapons. It is going to shoot you through. So try to practice as soon as possible in Brahma Muhurta. That is the importance of waking up early. As said, we were all there in ignorance. We learn that we can continue to progress from mode of ignorance to passion and goodness. And what I say is we have to look back and evaluate whether we are rising. At the end of the day, we have to see the mirror ourselves and see whether we have stagnated anywhere. I see most of the devotees here who were chanting one round or not even one round are gradually progressing. Through your sadhana sheet, we can see most of them are progressing. It's so encouraging. Somebody who is staying where you are, you have to evaluate yourself. And if you have stagnated, even the water, which is very pure, which is not flowing, it starts stinking after a few days. So you need to be like a flowing water. and you evaluate, see the progress, be humble. The pride should not come into you looking at your progress. Never think one who is chanting 16 round is an elevated devotee. Still it is just a passing marks. Still long way to go. Be humble in your progress. Pride comes before fall, is what it says. You will not directly fall. The moment pride comes into you, the next step is your fall from your platform. Let us move on to the next sloka. Hare Krishna.
May I read
Kirti
the
Mataji. Yeah, you can read the sloka, Mataji. Somebody else can take up the translation.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodigacchati.
Hare Krishna. When you see that there is nothing beyond these modes of nature in all activities, and that the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all these modes, then you can know my spiritual nature. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So one can transcend all the material modes of nature by simply understanding about these material modes of nature, how it is going to trap you. And how do you understand? By taking shelter of Guru Parampara, taking shelter of a bona fide Guru and reading scriptures, you get this. That is the importance of Guru Shishya Parampara. By the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, a living entity will actually understand his spiritual position, how he is entrapped, and how he is completely entangled in the forces of Maya as shown in this beautiful picture. And under the guidance of spiritual master, we can rise. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of Maya, is what we understood in Sloka 7.14. Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam Eva Prapadyante Mayam Eva Tarantite. So it clearly says it is very difficult to overcome the forces of Maya. But one who is surrendered to Krishna, one who is surrendered to the spiritual master, it is easy to rise above this. From Srimad Bhagavatam, I have brought a beautiful sloka for you all. It says, Canto 11, Chapter 2017. Nrideham adyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukulena nabhasvate ritam pumam bhavadbin na taret sa atmaha. If possible, please make a note of what I'm going to say next 1 minute. The human form, the translation and the purport of this sloka is the human form is like a boat, a facility given by the desire. Whatever we have got this human form, the rarest of rare form, this we have to utilize as a boat to cross over the ocean of this material life. And Guru Karnadharam, Guru is a captain of this boat. We have to take shelter of Guru. And the instructions of Krishna through various scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, is the favorable wind which is driving this boat towards our destination. The destination is lotus feet of Krishna. So what else is missing? We have got this body, we have got this knowledge, we have our spiritual masters who is guiding through. What is stopping us to go to this end destination? The word Atmaha is very important, the killer of soul. Our choice of serving Maya is killing this soul. The opportunity to go back to Krishna. Na taretsa atmaha, one who don't utilize this opportunity to rise above these material modes of nature is known as the killer of soul. Now in question and answer, please don't ask me soul cannot be killed. Try to understand the perspective, what we are saying. Tell me how many are still struggling to follow the 4 regulative principles. How many of you still have excuses? We will continue to have these excuses. There is only one thing in anything, Krishna consciousness, or even in our material progress, whatever we want to do, we have to start somewhere. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from the first step, isn't it? So the only reason is to prove to Krishna by our actions that we have understood that this material nature is not the place to be. And we have to rise above these modes of material nature and we want to come back to Krishna. So let us move to the next sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Gunan etan atitya trin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkair vimukto mritamashnute.
Somebody who has not participated yet can read this translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. May I?
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these 3 modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So next 6 to 7 slokas is going to explain how we can rise above these modes of material nature. How one can stay transcendental position, even in this body, even in this material world, how we can stay in the transcendental platform in full Krishna consciousness. The word, the Sanskrit word dehi means embodied. So although one is embodied in this material body, by spiritual advancement in the knowledge, we can free from these modes of material nature. So yesterday we discussed the intention. The knowledge is important, followed by the actions is even more important. And in other words, the devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from these material entanglements. So next sloka.
Arjuna uvacha kairlingai strin gunan etan atito bhavati prabho kim achara katam chaitam strin gunan ativartate.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Arjuna inquired, "O my dear Lord, by what symptoms is one known who is in transcendental to the modes? What is his behavior? And how does transcendental modes of nature happen?" Hare Krishna.
yeah, thank you. So these questions asked by Arjuna is very, very appropriate for all of us. You want to know the symptoms of person who has already transcended the material modes of nature. The first question is, how can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of modes of nature? The second question is how he lives and what his activities are. Are these regulated or unregulated? The third question is the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature. So all these questions put by Arjuna are very important, which will be answered by Krishna in our further slokas. Yes,
Shri
Mataji.
Bhagavan uvacha prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham evam cha pandava nadveshti sampravrittani navrittani kankshati udasina vadasino gunairyo na vichalyate gunavartanta ityevam yovatishtati nengate samadukha sukha swastha samaloštashma kanchana Tulya priya priyo dhiras, tulya nindatma samstutihi, manapamanayo's tulyas, tulyo mitrari pakshayoho, sarvarhamba parityagi, gunatita sa uchyate.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mataji. So all the three questions what Arjuna asked, Krishna is giving the answers. So Krishna first indicates that the person transcendentally situated has no envy to anybody and does not hanker for anything. So when we say does not hanker for anything, we also discussed about Yukta Vairagya. So he accepts everything which can be utilized in the service of Krishna and rejects everything which cannot be utilized for Krishna. So that is the way we are all engaging. We are not renouncing everything. The dry renunciation is not recommended. We are engaging everything in service of Krishna. Yesterday, one of the Matajis was asking, our sadhakas are above the material modes of nature. So we need to understand when the living entity stays in the material world, they are embodied in this material body. It should be understood that he is under the control of one or the other modes of material nature. So in this situation, how you can rise is by being neutral to all the bodily comforts as well as discomforts. So with the realization that I am the soul, I am aloof from these bodily activities. With that consciousness, one break free from these modes of material nature. So we discuss body does all the activities. It is the body is experiencing all the happiness as well as distress. So soul is aloof from it. So by not enjoying or feeling distressed, we will rise. We will be transcendentally situated, right? And then the next question about the dealings of transcendentally situated person. How does he deal? So the materially situated person is affected by the materially situated person is affected by the honors as well as dishonor, isn't it? But a transcendentally situated person is not affected by such false honor as well as dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether he is getting success or failure, honor or dishonor. This is Yukta Vairagya. As said in Bhagavad Gita 18.54, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samo sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. So he is equally disposed, sees everything as equal, because he is in such a level where he perfectly knows that he has nothing to do with this material existence. He sees both friends as well as enemies as equal. Next sloka.
Mamchoyo vyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate saguna samitiyantan brahma bhuya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So the third question of Arjuna is being addressed. What is the means of attaining the transcendental position? The material world is acting under the spell of material modes of nature. It will continue to push us away from Krishna. And the as we choose to engage serve Maya through our unregulated sense enjoyment, we will continue to get entangled. And the only way to rise above this is regulate our senses and engage our senses in the service of Rishikesha. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Regulate and engage, dovetail all your senses in service of Krishna, you will break free. Such a person attain the Satchit Ananda nature. We are and we get the understanding that we are the part and parcel of the Krishna. And to serve Krishna, we should also get the qualification, isn't it? For example, beautiful analogy what Prabhupada gives is, I and you cannot go and serve Prime Minister Modi. We need certain qualification. If for Prime Minister Modi, it requires so much of qualification, Krishna is Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. So what is the qualification? We need to first break free from our sense enjoyment propensity, the propensity to serve Maya. We have to break free from this. And second is love and devotion. So with this, we can rise. A beautiful example which just come to my mind when we talk about this body, sense and other things. The body is like small kids at home. They continue to demand so many things. No offenses to the mothers here. The mind is like mother. Mind always tell, okay, give it. There is always crying, is bothering me, give it, give it. But father is like an intelligence. Generally, fathers are too shrewd. They don't straight away give it to the unrealistic demands of kids. So with the intelligence, we have to overcome the demands of body as well as mind. Yeah. So how to transcend the mode? One who engage in devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances. We have seen little difficulties. We start questioning Krishna. Oh, I just heard a beautiful lecture yesterday in which it says, don't go and tell to Krishna how big is your problems. Tell your problems how big is Krishna. Tell to the problem how big is our Master, our Supreme Lord. With that consciousness, no problem can stand in front of us. Yeah, it's a very deep realization we need to understand. It is very easy to say. Even for me, it is very easy to say all these things. But to realize and implement in our life, it will transform our life in this material world itself. Please make note of all these things. It will really help you in all your situations going through in your life. So last sloka for the day.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Brahmano hi pratishthaham amrutasyavyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukasyaikāntikasya cha. Should I go ahead?
Yes, Mataji.
And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness and which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, the constitutional position of Brahman, we have already discussed through the chapter 2. It is immortal, imperishable, eternity, and eternal as well as always Satchidananda, happiness. And we have discussed that 3 ways we can realize the Supreme Lord, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan feature. So one can stay in the Brahman feature. And there is a risk of falling down from there. we have to rise to the Paramatma feature as well as the Bhagwan realization of Bhagwan feature, and then engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. To summarize this chapter, in one's constitutional position, a living entity, we understood that we are already above these modes of material nature. It is purely because of our sense enjoying propensity. We wanted to lord over the material nature. We get in contact with this material world. What is the way out? Chanting of holy names. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. I don't have to tell the explanation of this. This is the only way. Purify your heart by chanting, by engaging in your devotional service, in association of devotees, taking the shelter of the Guru Parampara, following 9 Navavida Bhakti by various forms of devotional service. Gradually, the association of spiritual master, association of serious devotees will also influence us. So once material enjoying desires will be removed gradually, one becomes firmly situated in the transcendental loving service of Sri Radha Krishna. So as a result, as said by Krishna, what we need to do, how we can go back to Krishna, 9.34. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam eishvaishasik yuktamyam atmanam mat parayanaha. So we will fix our mind. Manatrayate iti mantra. The Maha Mantra will help us to fix our mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. So with this, at 10, I end my chapter 14. I know this class was very heavy, but I had no choice. Till now, I kept on taking it very smoothly, but we are coming to end. Even at this level, if you are not serious, we are never going to be serious ever, and we are going to miss the greatest opportunity to go back to Godhead. So if I have offended anybody in any way, I request, I'm really excused for that. I apologize, but it is very important. Take this very seriously and move forward, right? Thank you very much for your beautiful association. We'll end our session here. So any quick realization, any quick question, another 1 or 2 minutes, we can wind up. Hope you all marked your respective attendance. Right?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, actually, I have one doubt that people will go to the demigods' temples and ask for many requests and doubts. And even though Krishna and Lord Vishnu is more than the demigod, and what should we ask? And we cannot request him. He knows our request. So what is your takeaway regarding that?
Simple, Prabhu. This we have discussed in detail. We should not disrespect any demigods. We say any demigod, they are all great devotees of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So just pray for Krishna Bhakti and progress in our Krishna consciousness. Nothing else.
Sure, thank you.
Any other realization? So many things I gave it without any filters. So anything which you liked, anything you want to implement, take away, we can share, and then we can end our session.
My takeaway would be, Prabhuji, you said when we wake up, we need to slap our mind with a slipper. So I think very, very important it is, because like you said, if 10 minutes it goes, then like, yeah, okay, another 10 minutes. Nice. And also I really like the example of the boat you gave, Prabhuji, the sailor, the boat and the destination.
Yes.
It was very beautiful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I just wanted to ask, other than having non-veg, there are animal products in various things we use also. It is difficult to know what contains animal products and give up everything.
Mataji, what animal products you are mentioning? Can you be specific?
Like leather for slippers, and sometimes in food products also they use some animal products.
Yes. So as I've said, our endeavors is more important. When we put that endeavors to distance from all those things, yeah, in our day-to-day modern lifestyle, 100% following is very difficult, but consciously, at least meat eating, all those things, we have to stop it right away.
Okay. And
And
Prabhu,
as
what
much as
about
possible, try to stay away from all these kind of products, Mataji. Keep
how
life simple.
about
Prabhupada says, keep life very simple and high thinking. So we all have to put our endeavors towards that.
how about eggs, Prabhu? That is not killing an animal.
Mataji, in one of the class, Namanishta Prabhu said, egg is the menstrual discharge of the hen. You want to eat that? It is not my words. So let us avoid all those things, Mataji.
Prabhuji, my takeaway is that every day is a struggle, and every day we need to fight with our whatever the things what we are unable to do it. So every day is a new day for us. And
Yes.
one more thing we should inculcate in our life. We should think that if there is an emergency, that we don't know tomorrow is there or not for us. So think that today is only the day for us. So whatever
Exactly.
we have to do it for today only. So we have
This
to
is
think it in that way.
this is my takeaway from you, Mataji. So
Thank you.
very, very important
Hare
thing in
Krishna.
our
Very
spiritual
nice.
practice is there is no tomorrow. There is no next 1 hour. Whatever you have to do it now. If you want to finish your 16 rounds, finish it now. You don't know whether you are there till next afternoon or evening. We already discussed about in similar line the example of Yudhishthira, where he says to his praja to come and meet me tomorrow. You remember? So there is no tomorrow in our spiritual practice. People say gradually you can rise, but my endeavor says whatever, at least the basic minimum I have to do, I will do it. After that only I will rise. Yes, Mataji, thank you very much for bringing up this point. So I'll end my session here. Vancha kalpatarubhasya cha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you once again.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank
Excuse
you,
me for
Prabhu. Thank you.
very hard session. It
Krishna.
just flow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Very beautiful class, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.